You're listening to the Super Sports Flash podcast.
Welcome into episode 15 of the Super Sports Flash podcast. I'm your host, Joe Will.
Yeah, and I'm Tyler Shivish.
And I'm your other host, Matt Nash.
Oh, I guess I'm a host too.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, whatever.
We took a break for a little bit because, had to get our classes in order.
Lots of things happened.
Things did happen.
Yes.
Many things.
It's been a solid minute, but we're back. And since we last left off, had the Alabama basketball season started when we were still?
I think, it had started.
I think it had. And we're loosely talking about it.
I think we were bad back then. So
we were.
Surprise,
We're not bad anymore.
Yeah, we're not bad anymore. We're actually 10-0 in the SEC. Who would have thought that? Combined Alabama football and basketball this year is 20-0 in the SEC play. So that's pretty cool.
We're in everything school. Football, basketball, tennis,
everything.
Cricket.
Hail Nate Oates. Hail Nate Oates.
So they're coming off a 78-60 win over LSU.
LSU?
Yesterday or 2 days ago?
It was Wednesday, so it was yesterday.
Yeah. So
it would be Wednesday, February the 3rd.
Of all the days already.
Honestly, I've just been in my room because of online classes. Like everything kind of blurs together at this point. But
I feel you.
I saw Trendon Watford, everyone's favorite LSU basketball player, really struggled, which is, a good sign for Alabama fans. He
always struggles in Coleman Coliseum because the dude grew up loving Alabama and then decided to go to LSU because he thought it was going to be a better basketball.
No, I don't think that's why. Personally, not to get into conspiracy.
I think he wanted a little, little cheddar action
dinero on the
from
side.
Will Wade.
Besides, we all know that Will Wade is notorious for slapping money down on the phone. Mm-hmm. He's just like, "Hey, I'll pay you this much," and the FBI is like, "Are you an idiot?"
But yeah, so that was Alabama's, I think, fifth quarter one win or quadrant one win. And
yeah, I believe so.
I think you're right.
That's very good. Joe Lenardi, the bracketology guy, today put out a tournament schedule, like a mock schedule, and he had Alabama as a 1 seed, which I thought was crazy.
Wild, man. Wild.
I don't think we're going to be a 1 seed. I guess
I don't want to be a 1 seed.
I think we're going to be a 2 seed probably if we keep it up.
Hey, man, I like being a 1 seed. Here's the thing. The difference between a 1 and 2 is almost negligible in everything, but I just like the small boost that it might give us in recruiting new people come 2 or 3 years down the line.
And this is a kind of a dumb question, but I never really follow college basketball that much. Are all the games neutral site or is it home court advantage throughout the thing if you're a 1 seed?
For the tournament, every single game is neutral site anyway.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, that's what I was asking because I wasn't sure.
And it's, especially this year too, because of limitations to like stadium capacity.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really make a difference anyways.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that actually kind of benefits us this year because outside of, our recent game against Oklahoma, which we did drop because Oklahoma's really freaking good at basketball.
Points. Yeah.
And you could argue the refs were doing some dirty work in that game. But
yeah, that was brutal.
It's neither here nor there at that point. But outside of that, we have shot fantastically in opponent's gyms. Like John Petty, we set the SEC record in 3-pointers made, beating our own record in LSU, in Louisiana. And then John Petty has just been going off in every other stadium around the Southeast except ours.
Yeah, they shot 25%, 6 for 24, quick math, from beyond the arc this last game. And recently, they just haven't been shooting that well, but it doesn't seem to matter. Actually, fun fact, I have a class where I had to write about an Alabama-related sport topic, and I wrote about Alabama's rise in basketball and why they're good. And their offense is all pacing focused, right? Even when their shots aren't falling, they're always a top offense because they just get so many offensive possessions.
Yes.
And the big difference this year from last year is we have defense that can complement it.
Yes.
They were actually giving up 10 points per game less than we were last year. And so we're like 163 out of 360 something teams, which is middle of the pack. But last year we were like 260 out of 360. Yeah. So we moved up over 100 spots defensively.
If you watch us play games, and you'll be like, man, Alabama cannot hit a shot this game. You'll check the score 5 minutes later. We still haven't hit a shot, but neither have they.
Yeah.
Because no one gets open shots against us, despite the fact that we have next to no size healthy right now, with Bruner still out.
Here's the thing. It makes me nervous that we are so reliant on the 3, even though that's our bread and butter, and we recruit guys to play here that are good 3-point shooting, because if you have a game like the Oklahoma game where you're not hitting your 3-pointers and you're just getting absolutely killed on the boards, there's not much that you can do. And
See, but that's the thing is I would kind of argue the opposite way and saying that we're not really reliant on the three. Like, we shoot a lot of them, but we beat LSU shooting 25%. We shot abysmally against Kentucky and won with free throws and layups. So even the games that our shot isn't falling, we end up pulling them out. I mean, except the Oklahoma game, but they were a good competition. Like,
Oklahoma has won at like 5 or 6 top 10 games in a row.
Yeah, it was like their last 5 games were against top 10 teams.
Oklahoma is literally on fire and managed to only beat us by 5 points on our worst night with a little bit of help from the refs.
I'm just worried when it comes to tournament time, if we go up against a team that's physical, are we going to be able to compete with them? Because I'll tell you what, Alex Reese and all the other guys we have are just getting
playing center,
are absolutely getting bullied down low, and it makes me nervous. I mean, let's say we go up against a team like Iowa. They got Luka Garza.
Well, I would agree with it, but here's the problem with that is that, our offense does live and die by the three a lot. But the fact that we pace so much, Luka Garza is not athletic. The dude is not athletic. So Iowa, and look at it, their starting lineup, it's Luka and like a couple white dudes that can't really run much. They're just a bunch of good set shooters. So we just pace them out. They're gassed. They can't hit shots when you're gassed. It's so much harder to do. I'm not worried about big physical teams like that because, sure, we struggled against Mississippi State when we weren't hitting anything. We still won the game. They have 3 big men. They ran 2 to start. They started 2 centers, and we just ran them into the ground. The biggest thing about a big man is that you have to run a 2-3.
Besides their height.
Yes. The biggest thing about a big man is his height. Fun fact. But when you have a big man on the court against Alabama men's basketball, you simply have to run a 2-3 because he's not going to be able to keep up with our 5 wide. A big guy along the perimeter is liable to get cut on, and Alex Reese has shown that he is willing to take a guy off the dribble. He's done it quite frequently, and in the last 3 games, Alex Reese has been the best guy on the floor for Alabama.
Are you serious? The
Have
best
you
guy
watched
on the floor? Every time I watch the games, Reese is just struggling.
Reese, I think, leads the team in scoring over the last 3 games. Dude, he's
that
killing.
worries me.
It doesn't worry me because he's playing out of his mind right now. Here's the thing. 2 years ago, Alex Reese couldn't catch a lob. He threw one down against LSU last night. That was impressive. And again, that sounds like a knock on Alex Reese. It's not. The dude is like, he cares so much more. His defensive production is through the roof. The dude's getting like a block and a half a game now.
Yeah, but he's known as a 3-point shooter, and if you look at his 3-point shooting percentage over his tenure at Alabama, it's the lowest this year. And so what good is he if he can't play defense and he's a terrible 3-point shooter? Then what's the point in having him out there? He can't grab a rebound.
Here's the thing. He is a very good rebounder. That's the thing that you're missing here. He's a good rebounder.
He's okay. I wouldn't say that he's a good rebounder.
He is one of the best free throw rebounders I've ever seen in my life. On offense, when we're shooting a free throw, Alex Reese is just about as liable to get that ball as anyone else on the court. And also, he's not a 3-point shooter. He was brought into Alabama as a tall guy who can rebound and occasionally stretch the floor. He's not known as a 3-point sniper, and he takes the dumb shot occasionally. But the fact of the matter is he's getting open, and he's willing, like I said now, to put the ball on the floor, take it, and go up with it. And he's hitting a lot of them. Over the last 3 games, Alex Reese has really impressed me. He helped pace us in that win over LSU. Sure, we won by 18, but he got us out of some sticky situations. I like what he's bringing to the
I don't know.
right now.
I'm still not sold on Alex Reese. Obviously, if we get Jordan Bruner back, that'll be a huge addition for us, and I'm hoping we can, because that'll help us immensely.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of is unfortunate that Alex Chiku got hurt at the beginning of the year because he was arguably going to compete for like the starting spot. I mean, he's pretty good, and so. Juwan Gary actually has been playing, getting more minutes, and it's kind of nice because he's basically a proxy big man at this point. Like
his rebounding is spotty.
Yeah,
he got a ton of rebounds last game.
He got 7 rebounds last game. That tied his season high.
Well, they need to get him more minutes though.
But the thing is,
when he's on the court, I mean, he's productive. He hasn't been able to get out there.
Well, that's the thing. When he's on the court, he's not always productive, and he does take a lot of dumb layups. Him and Rojas are kind of similar in the way that they take the same kind of dumb layups. Now, Rojas is not as good as Juwan Gary.
Yeah,
but
I'm
Rojas
not a fan of Rojas.
Here's the thing with Rojas. He'll spark something because who's like second on the team and hard hat points, right? It's Rojas. In games where Rojas plays, he's second on the team because whether he means to or not, he ends up on the floor. He dives for balls, whether he wants to or not. He'll go out there, he'll get a rebound, he'll bump someone out of the way. He's like Zion if the aliens from Space Jam took his powers.
Talent.
Took his athletic abilities.
You want to talk about
That's what they
stupid layups, though? I just do not I've never seen a player as good as Jaden Shackelford that takes such dumb
But it's
shots
not. It's
all
not
the
just.
time.
It's not just Shackelford. It's every time I watch this team. It's Jaden Shackelford, Herb Jones, Javon Quinterly. Anytime they go in for layups, is that what you're referring to?
Well, I was
layups?
just talking about
They go up
Shackelford
so
takes
weak.
these weird, like off balance,
Yeah,
like falling away layups.
They all do
Here's-
that. Shackelford, it was noticeable in the Oklahoma game.
Yeah,
But this team struggles to finish the layups. They just go up soft on the layups.
Here's the thing that I have noticed as of late. It's Jaden Shackelford. If you give him a wide open layup, he's probably going to miss it.
yeah.
If you force him to go with his offhand and throw the ball backwards over his head spinning, which he does at least 4 times a game, he's going to hit it.
Yeah, it's like me and rec basketball.
You just throw it up and it'll go in.
Quinterly's the same though. He does
Quinterly is the
thing.
same, but Quinterly is also still trying to get back in the rhythm because he took like a year, 2 or 3 years off from playing.
He's had
actual
plenty of
basketball.
time.
Well,
though.
yeah, no,
He's
he
just
played really well at the beginning of the year. He's just been struggling as of late.
He's so
he
inconsistent.
was out like with some sickness or some injury that was undisclosed at the time, and we still don't know. Like I think it came out what it was, but I don't know personally, so I'm not going to pretend like I do know. He was playing really well before that. Came back in after the team had hit the stride because he went out before we hit our stride. When he came back in, the team was like, okay, we're hitting all these kind of threes. So he tried to change the way that
Yeah.
he played. The way that JQ needs to play is we need to spread everyone out, give him an ISO, and have some guy cut across.
Yeah,
the
because
middle.
he's fast too. I mean, last night
He's not-
I'm dogging on Quinterly, but last night I thought he played pretty well. And so if they can get him to the point where, his game is steadily increasing each time they go out there on the court, that's going to be huge later on in the season for us.
Fun fact, I think I was doing some research on Alabama players and stuff for the article I was writing. And if you count like what he was ranked when he was recruited, Javon Quinterly's the highest rated player on Alabama's team, like from high school rankings. He was a 5-star coming out of
I mean, dude, that's Jelly JQ.
yeah.
That man was the guy who invented the jelly layup. You didn't know that?
What is the jelly layup?
The jelly layup is where you go up like this and you turn the ball. For all of those who aren't watching the video, you go up like you're going for a dunk and you turn your hand in the air to do a layup.
People have definitely done that like way before him. Come on.
No, like actually, he was the start of Jelly Fam. His
I
nickname
thought you
is
went
Jelly-
up for the layup and you
He
had,
might have like
jelly on
done it
your
a lot,
hand.
but he
No.
definitely did not
And
invent it.
you put it on the ball and you dunked
No.
it or something. I thought
No.
that was
So-
jelly. No? Okay.
You guys want to talk a little bit about NBA basketball? I think we've kind of talked a lot about Alabama, and we have a lot to talk about. So the All-Star game is coming up March 7th. They released the first voting list to show how people were doing. I saw LeBron was leading in the West, and Kevin Durant actually was leading in the East, which is pretty interesting because he's played okay, but I mean, I think
Dude,
he's played well, but I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's had the best season in the East. I think Joel Embiid, if you're going by pure performance, should be the number 1 vote getter in the East.
I mean, you could make an argument for that, but let's give KD his props. KD's putting up better numbers than he did in his MVP season. So, I mean, he's playing better than well. He's playing out of his mind. And again, so is Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
But Kevin Durant is a more noticeable name, and everyone knows Joel Embiid takes possessions off on defense.
Yeah. So who do you think should be MVP? Right now, who's your pick?
Currently, my MVP, oh man, I would have to give it to Kevin Durant because of how I've seen him playing. Because without Kyrie, before they got Harden, when he had no Kyrie, dude was putting up 35 and 9 a night.
Mm-hmm.
And for a guy who's known as an ISO scorer to be getting 9 assists a night while still shooting above 50 to 60% most nights,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. That's MVP level stuff because the Nets didn't really experience much of a drop off when Kyrie left. They experienced a small one, but not much of one. Then they got Harden back, and Harden took over the point guard role, and Harden has been playing great in that role.
Yeah.
Because if you look at that team, Harden's the 1, Kyrie's the 2, just straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, Harden always played well at the 1. I think personally, I'm buying into the hype. I got to go Nikola Jokic just because,
Joker.
one, I would love to see another
The
center win the
Mac
MVP.
Jones Joker.
Yes. I would love to see a center win the MVP. It's been 20 years since Shaq was the last center to win it 20 years ago. And Jokic has just been playing so well. I think he's averaging like career highs in points and assists. And it's just really cool to watch a center kind of like dominate a game, but in a way that isn't just like them backing everyone down all the time.
Yeah,
Like, he
back down,
dominates
back down, drop step.
Yeah.
dunk.
He dominates the game by being crafty and like a really good passer and a really good ball handler.
He's
for a
very
center.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
He is the ultimate fundamentals player because the dude is not
Yeah.
athletic.
And he's actually been pretty athletic this year. Like he's cut Joker now. He lost all the weight and now he's
Yoked.
he's running everyone out the gym.
That's
high
not true.
flying dunks.
He's not running everyone out of the
I
gym.
love watching the Nuggets in general. They're
Yeah.
one of my favorite NBA teams.
I mean,
'cause you got
it's-
the Joker, he got Murray.
The only problem that I have with the Nuggets is how do you get offensive? You don't get offensive rebounds because you've got
That's
Jokic
true.
standing at the top
Yeah.
of the key, and you've got
Paul
your
Millsap, baby.
the second. No, Paul Millsap doesn't even play with the starters. It's Michael Porter Jr. now.
Oh yeah.
He's 6'10". He also stands at the 3-point line. You've got Jamal Murray, Gary Harris, and like Will the Trill Barton just running in circles in there. You just gotta, who's gonna grab the board?
So Joe, what about you? Who's your MVP right now?
I'm going to have to go with what Matt said. Kevin Durant coming off that injury. He's just been super impressive from Brooklyn. I knew he was going to be good for them, but maybe not this good. I thought it would take him a little more time to kind of get back into the flow of things. So I would definitely pick Kevin Durant.
Well, you know what Lil B said about Kevin Durant.
What's that?
I can't say it on air. So do you guys think the Brooklyn Net? You guys never heard that song? Look it up in your free time, ladies and gents. So
All
do you
right,
guys
then.
think that the Brooklyn Nets are legit with, Kyrie came back from his soul searching, I guess. He never really said what that was.
He was lost in the jungles of Brazil. I don't know.
He was lost in something. And
lost,
James
maybe.
Harden, yeah, exactly. James Harden got traded midseason. Started off like okay, obviously, because he had
He
to find
was-
his role with the team.
Yeah.
And now he's been playing
not his
incredibly.
dinner rules, which
Yeah.
All right. All right.
All right.
That's
Oh,
come
enough.
on,
That's
it
enough.
was funny. It
All
was
right,
uncalled for.
Look, he's not fat anymore. He just wears a stomach.
Wait,
he
James
wears like a
Harden,
back
he's
brace.
here. He's in the parking lot. I
yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah, you got to leave now. No.
Hello, police. James Harden's trying to beat me up. I think that, I think they're going to be pretty good. I think they are already pretty good. The one thing that scares me is a team that is big man centered, like the Nuggets, or like Anthony Davis on the Lakers. They don't really have a big man like
They have-
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, they have DeAndre Jordan, and
And-
they've run Kevin Durant at the center.
And DeAndre Jordan's kind of a liability on defense at this point in his career.
Poor
So
guy.
it's just, I don't know. His athleticism didn't keep up with him. And now, like, who's their backup center besides DeAndre Jordan? I think they had
he's
like
their
an-
starting center.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually have a backup center on roster at the moment.
I feel like they have to be trading for someone at the deadline.
They might not be trading for someone because they have two exceptions that they can use to sign. They still have a mid-level exception they can use to sign someone for like $10 million, which is a decent deal.
But who's like available right now?
Well, Andre Drummond is probably going to get bought out,
Okay.
which would be a huge addition to that.
That would
team.
be okay. They're my finals favorites for sure. If Andre Drummond, goes
Yes,
to the
if
Nets.
that because there's also other people in play because the Celtics have a big trade exception that's like the Gordon Hayward trade exception, so it's $28 million that they could use on Andre Drummond because surprise, surprise, Tristan Thompson didn't fix anything.
yeah, he's been playing okay.
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, he's been playing okay. They need someone to play great because they
Yeah.
have like Jason Tatum is soft. You heard it here first. I'm saying it. Jason Tatum right now is soft. I like this season he has been playing with with more heart.
He doesn't really have that killer instinct when I watch him play. He just kind of looks like he's going through the motions to me.
In the bubble, it was disgraceful. It wasn't even basketball what he was doing. Every single possession, Jason Tatum would shoot a step back three in the bubble. Now, like I said, he has changed that this year. As of late, things have gotten a little bit better for him. And with the emergence of Jaylen Brown, which is incredible, Jaylen Brown has been exactly what I thought he was going to be out of college. And I'm so
they got a lot
happy.
of heat for picking him. What did they pick him? 6, 7,
At third.
third? Was
They
it all
picked-
the way?
Yeah, they picked him in third because they had, it was like, yeah, I think it was third or fourth.
Where did he go to?
UCLA.
UCLA. Okay,
Yeah.
I wanted to say that, but
No, I thought he went
sounds
somewhere
stupid.
else.
Texas,
No, it was
UCLA. I don't know.
Yeah. Regardless, he has just absolutely showed up out of no. Like,
Oh, it was Cal, apparently.
I knew it wasn't UCLA,
Yeah, we are same
Jeez.
coast.
but
I'm just all over the place.
yeah, he like I said, dude, oh my gosh, he's playing so well right now, and I love that Kemba. I love what Kemba is doing for the Celtics. Okay. Kyrie Irving, when he was on the Celtics, said, I am the guy. You will listen to me when I tell you what
Which
to
worked out so well for him. And
It
that's why
worked
he's
out
not even
horribly.
there anymore.
do. Dude, the things that were going on in Boston during that time were atrocious. It was awful. Like, the chemistry was off. The team was off. And then Kemba comes back from his injury this year. And they're like, how do you feel about your role? He says, don't ask me about my role. My role, I'm going to find my role. So long as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum
Yeah, he's not.
keep doing what they are doing.
He
And I'm
fits-
like, yes.
He fits in better with them because he's not like Kyrie's is, in my opinion, is very selfish, only cares about himself. Whereas Jaylen Brown's more of a team guy, and that gels better with the Celtics
Yeah, I think Kyrie might
or Kemba. Yeah,
be changed a little bit from that because he at the time he definitely only cared about himself because he thought he
Yeah.
was going to be the guy, and then he learned hard that no, you're not going to be the guy. And so I think him getting with Kevin Durant and James Harden is kind of his own
Yeah.
admission that he is no longer the guy. He's just
it
a
took him
part
long
of the
to
team.
figure it out, but
It did, but then he got weird, and everyone was like, "Dude, you're weird." And he's like, "Yeah."
dude, you're weird.
To be fair, though, like I kind of understand where he's coming from. Yeah, it's selfish and you have to be a good team player, but he left the Cavs because he wanted to not be in like LeBron's shadow anymore. He wanted to be the star on a team. And then he just happened to go to a team that drafts two players that turned into like the young superstars.
Well, it's not even that. He missed most of the first year with an injury that he had to get surgery on that ended his season.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they had a huge playoff run with Jason Tatum showing up and actually playing with killer instinct. So, like, it was kind of, must have felt at the time like his opportunity was robbed of him. And then he
Yeah.
came back and expected everyone to accept the role under him. And they said no, because Jason Tatum had been having people whisper in his ear all offseason saying, you're the guy now.
You're the guy.
Well, actually, speaking of, formerly injured
ASMR.
former Celtics, I want to talk about Gordon Hayward actually real quick. I just want to bring him up.
Gordon
He's
Hayward alert.
He left the Celtics.
Gordon Hayward
and he's
alert.
been playing incredible in Charlotte. He's been far and away their best player, and that's impressive because they have LaMelo Ball, who's playing a lot better than I thought he would.
I mean, he's playing a lot better than I thought he would, but he's also still got a lot of the major
Yes.
problems that I identified when he came in. The dude, he started last night. It was like, okay, you started. He shot like 3 of 10 from 3, had
6
7 turnovers, or was it 6?
I think it was 6.
But he still had 3 assists. So it's like your
Yeah.
assist to turnover ratio was, in the words that I call it, negative. If it's below 1, it's negative. And he had a vastly negative assist to turnover ratio. His turnovers are way too high.
Yeah.
I would say right now the tiers on that team are Gordon Hayward, Scary Terry, then Devontae Graham or LaMelo Ball interchangeably.
This year, I think LaMelo Ball is significantly ahead of, or like firmly ahead of Devontae Graham, just because Devontae Graham has had kind of an off year after winning Most Improved Player last year.
Yeah, which he deserved. Well,
yeah, he went.
yeah,
he played
it was-
very well last
yeah,
year.
it was-
but he started off the season kind of rough.
Yeah, he did.
But I agree. I think, like I said, I didn't think LaMelo was going to be that good at all. So I'm completely wrong, and I accept that. He's already shown me that, like, yeah, he has rookie mistakes. He makes a lot of rookie mistakes, but he's shown me that he could be a superstar one day if he gets it worked out.
You know what he's shown me? He's mature.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was my number one gripe with him. I said I looked at him. I said he's not mature enough to be in the NBA, and he
That's
showed
how I
up.
felt as well.
And he's
I've been
mature.
So wrong.
He's mature. I am so impressed with what LaMelo Ball has done. He has blown away my expectations.
He's only 19 years old.
And he's very
probably the
mature.
favorite for Rookie of the Year right now.
Yeah, it's between him and him.
Yeah, I mean,
Because like it's him, then like a drop off, then Wiseman, then another drop off, then like Tyrese Halliburton,
yeah.
and then everyone else below.
Yeah.
Even though Halliburton won Rookie of the Month over
Dude.
James Wiseman.
I don't know how. I looked at their stats. Wiseman beat him out in points, and also like Wiseman's rebound numbers were higher than Halliburton's assist numbers, and his block numbers were higher than Halliburton's steal numbers.
Yeah, but to be fair, I'd argue that a rebound doesn't equate to an assist. Like an assist is 2 or 3 points, a rebound could be 0. So obviously, when it comes to help you win, like they're both equally important, but I don't think you can just look at them straight up and say that they're the same thing.
No.
So who do you guys think is going to be in the NBA Finals?
That's a big one.
I think Lakers Nets.
Yeah. I mean that's the most.
I think everybody else thinks
The
that
most-
too. The Bucks always look so good to me in the regular season, and then the playoff Bucks, it's like
They're
watching
like 13-8 this year right now. They're not
night
that
and
good.
day.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are actually the reason why they're 13-8 is because they're experiencing some early season struggles with the new style that Budenholzer has them running. Because I believe firmly that, excuse me, that they are actually running a new style, which
Yeah.
is not because if you look at the reason why the Bucks have lost in the last 2 playoffs, what was it?
It's because Giannis gets shut down in the playoffs and their role players don't step up.
Yes,
100%.
but if you look at the defense the other team runs, what is it?
They just pack the paint because Giannis can't shoot.
They build a wall, is what they do. They
make
literally
the Bucks pay for it.
they commit 3 players to
We're gonna
guarding
build a
Giannis
wall.
at one time. They
It's gonna
commit
be huge.
3 dudes to guarding Giannis at one time. And
Yeah.
like you said, his help never really ever stepped up. Chris Middleton has a habit of disappearing when he's needed most. And I must say, the addition of Drew Holiday at the expense of Eric Bledsoe has, I think, helped that team in the long run.
yeah.
Because Eric Bledsoe can't shoot a basketball, man.
I'm really sad for the Bucks, and also just for the sake of watching a good basketball team, that the Bogdanovich thing played out the way it did. So those I don't know, they announced that they were trading for Bogdanovich after they got Drew Holiday. He's a perennial, like 6th man of the year type candidate, and he's pretty good. And he would also fit the Bucks team really well because
He
he's a good
would.
shooter.
He's incredible. Like it would
But-
have been perfect fit.
Then apparently it came out that they were talking to him. They agreed to the trade before the legal
What it was you couldn't
Oh, the
sign
tampering
people
period?
yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was
was
tampering
during the
because you
tampering.
couldn't sign yet, and it was supposed to be a sign-and trade from the Kings to the Bucks.
Yeah.
The Kings said done deal and announced it.
And
They
so the
sent
Kings,
Woj.
then the Kings got cold feet because they didn't want to get in trouble for tampering, so they didn't do it. And then he ended up going to the Hawks, which
And,
is,
yeah.
he's been playing pretty well, like you'd expect. But the Hawks aren't serious contenders, and the Bucks really could have used a guy like that.
And the Hawks are like a 5th seed in the East.
Yeah. One thing I will say though is that I think this is good reassurance for Giannis. I mean, he did just re-sign, right?
Yeah.
He did make the decision to re-sign with the team. That was a big question mark. Was he going to stay in Milwaukee if they continually lose? He's there for another 4 years now, I think, right? 4 or 5.
Yeah, about that.
But they're showing that they want to build the team around him. They were trying to go out and get players. Even if they only got Drew Holiday, they tried to make the trade happen for the other
Yeah.
ones. So I think that if you're Giannis, that makes you feel good about the future.
And I also love the addition of DJ Augustine. And now, you may call me crazy,
Crazy.
but man, I love what DJ Augustine brings me on the court, even if he's just a backup point guard. Because that guy can shoot a basketball, and he is one of the craftiest point guards in the NBA. He's short. He is probably a good liability on defense, but man,
Sounds like me in the rec leagues.
he he fits the offensive mold that the Bucks need, because if they are doing what I think they're doing and taking the ball out of Giannis's hands on a higher percentage of possessions, which is what I think they should do, then, dude, I love it.
It's funny you say that because he had a triple-double yesterday with 10
Wow,
assists, obviously. But
Yeah, it's like, dude, even if you take the ball out of someone's hands, you can still get double-digit assists.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I remember Brandon Ingram was getting double-digit assists,
Like-
and I'm like, this dude's not this dude has 4 point guards on his team. How?
taking the ball out of his hands, too, when you're an MVP player means maybe you touch it 70% of plays instead of 90.
Yeah.
So,
When you're an MVP guy, it's just we're not going to ISO with you every time
yeah.
and let them build the wall. We're going to have you set the screen and then roll, and then we can let Drew Holiday create from there because they're going to collapse.
So,
Moving on to National
yeah.
Signing Day, then,
So
are
you
we?
guys want to talk about a little bit of football? Because
I am more than down because
Wow.
for those of you who
All
don't
I can
know,
say is wow.
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know, we got him. We got the number 1 recruiting
It
class.
doesn't matter who it is. We got him.
Ever.
We got everybody.
Yeah, we did
We
get
got
everybody.
the number 1 recruiting class ever,
So,
if memory serves.
also shout out to Kamar Wheaton for being the player that pushed us over the edge. 5-star. He's the number 1 running back in the class. Actually, he
Yes.
was committed to Oklahoma and then flipped to Alabama
Got
on
him.
early letter of intent day or whatever. And then
Look at
There
this
was-
running back room.
yeah,
Brian Robinson, Trey Sanders, Keelan Robinson, Jace McClellan, Royden Williams, Kyle Edwards, and Kamar Wheaton. Wheaton's a 5-star. Sanders is a 5-star. McClellan's a 5-star. Williams, Robinson, both Robinsons are all 4 stars, and then Edwards is like a high 3.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, you can't. There's no way all these guys stay here. There's no way.
I mean, well, that's what you think. Now, we had a running back room similar to this once.
I don't know if it's ever been this good.
Have you heard about the one where we had
Alvin Kamara.
and Derrick Henry
Henry and
and
TJ
TJ Yeldon and also 3 other dudes, I think, that we had at that time? We had
yeah.
an
Yeah.
incredible deep group. Now, this group is special because I don't know who's going to start.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it would be
the safe
between
bet is C-Rob.
Probably B Rob's job to lose.
Well, that's the thing. Saban
But-
does
but
will go with
also-
seniority, but he's also the first dude. Let's not forget, we had there was some quarterback we had here. He played like 2 drives to start the season. He was named our starting quarterback.
Blake
Played
Barnett.
Blake Barnett.
Yeah, it was the
got
season opener
yanked.
against USC, and then that's when Jalen Hurts came over.
He got
and
yanked.
the
Jalen
rest
Hurts
is
came in
history.
and threw for a bunch of yards and a bunch of touchdowns.
One thing I'd say as well is a lot of what happens or who starts next season, I think, depends on Trey Sanders and how healthy he is. Because he was getting a lot of play as the number 3, and then I feel so bad for him because 2 times now, like something that wasn't like
Yeah, he
a
had,
freak accident ended his injury. He
the
got into a
foot
car
injury,
crash.
and then he had the car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So hopefully, he can he can stay healthy. But
yeah.
just looking at this room,
Yeah, dude,
don't know.
Kamar Wheaton looks good. I watched some of his high school tape. My God.
Yeah. Also, fun fact: I believe Jace McClellan went to the same high school as him. I think it was Jace McClellan. We have a player.
well, I know
that
I know Jace McClellan for commitment was
committed to
Oklahoma
Oklahoma.
as
They went to
well.
the same high school, and then they both flipped on
that's
like
awesome.
2 years in a row. A running back that went to the same high school like flipped from Oklahoma to Alabama.
Man, Oklahoma's
to
got to
this.
be a little bit salty about that one.
Alabama's signing class has an average player rating of 0.95. There are only 110 players rated 0.95 in America. In America.
That's pretty good.
I
Man.
mean, we thought the 2017 recruiting class was great for us. Guys like Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Jedrick Wills,
Yeah.
Tua, all those guys. This class is
Paul Tyson.
let's simmer down.
I'm
This
sick of people
class
telling
is
me Paul
even,
Tyson's gonna
even better. It's the highest rated recruiting class we've ever had.
Yeah.
That's insane to me.
It's the highest rated recruiting class anyone's ever had.
I mean, diving into the actual people who recruited, we only had a couple guys commit, not recruit. Excuse me. We
Yesterday.
got 4-star Terrion Arnold and then 5-star Kamar Wheaton, because obviously with the early signing period now in December, majority of these players, that's when they sign.
Yeah.
But there's always a couple that wait till the actual signing day, and then we're still in the mix for I'm gonna butcher JT Tuamalalu.
Top rated defensive end, I believe.
Yeah,
And,
defensive end out of Sandwich, Washington. He was going to commit on signing day, but he said he wants to visit a couple more schools. I mean, he visited Alabama his sophomore year. Ohio State is a favorite to land him. Still hasn't even set foot in Columbus, which doesn't make much sense to me why they're the favorite. So I think he's going to commit in April, I believe.
Yeah.
So that bodes well for Alabama because they have more time to
Yeah, that'd be incredible because like
win him over.
since it's been a couple of years I think since we've had like a legitimate force at D end, and now we have Will Anderson who's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
And then combine him with JT or anyone like that.
Yeah,
Boy,
I don't know. I still think it's more likely he goes to Ohio State just
Yeah.
because, I mean, you look at them, both the Bosa brothers, Chase Young, the level of success
Mm-hmm.
those guys have had, and, defensive line coach Larry Johnson has just been able to churn out these monsters year in and year out.
By the way, I will say I said it before, like the day before the national championship game, and I will say this for years. By his junior season, Will Anderson will be the best defensive end in college football.
I sure hope so, man, because like you said, it's been a while since we've had that premier elite pass rusher. I feel like our defense doesn't really tailor to, a stud defensive end. We're more
it's been
balanced.
it's been like
It's-
cornerbacks recently, like Patrick Surtain.
Oh, we have been
like,
cornerback you as of
Trayvon
late.
Diggs.
We have produced so many guys. Dude, Fitty Pat?
Kool-Aid Glizzy, JaQuincy McKinstry.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He's on the basket. He was actually on the
Yeah.
bench for the basketball game this last.
Well,
Dude,
but,
Kool-Aid.
going
Love
off of
Kool-Aid.
that, not only McKinstry, but allegedly Terry and Arnold, who we
yeah.
got yesterday, is going to play basketball as well. I don't know how that's going to
we
work
got
out.
we got 2 dual sport athletes.
because the seasons
yesterday.
overlap, but I'm
They just-
assuming football.
Oh, yeah,
will
football
take
takes
top
priority.
priority.
It's football,
Oates,
and then
Nate Oates knows that.
they show up halfway through the year, and it's just like if you've got a guy that
an extra
plays
body, some fresh legs.
like that, it's
Yeah.
like if you have a guy that plays football out on a basketball court, he's going to be way more aggressive than everyone else. And so it's like you sick him out there for 5 minutes at a time and say, press that guy full court. Other dude's gassed. This guy's like, let's go.
Well, I mean, they're both like walk down players in the secondary, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming their defense for basketball translates pretty well as well.
Lateral quickness, man, it translates. All right. Are we ready to take a step into the pros here? There's some
Yes.
big, heavy hitting discussions we have to take on.
Yes.
NFL
First
time.
off,
This is my favorite time.
where and is Deshaun Watson going to?
Minnesota.
Is all right.
No, I'm kidding.
Homer.
Is Deshaun Watson going to leave? And if
You're
so,
a homer.
if so,
I was
where's he
kidding.
going?
That's not realistic.
I call you a homer, but I believe the best situation for Deshaun Watson,
Don't you say
and
it.
I'm biased,
Don't you say it.
would be the Washington football team. I don't think he's not going to the Jets.
He wants to
Why
go to the
heck-
Jets.
Nobody wants to go to the Jets.
He wants to go to the Jets.
Why would
he
he-
just wants out of tech? Like,
Why
out
would
of
he-
Houston.
get out of Houston just to turn around and go to a franchise that's been a dumpster fire, just like the Houston Texans.
People really
last couple
like
years.
Robert Saleh.
Yeah, I know they've got a new coach and they've fixed a lot of their issues. But do you think Deshaun Watson wants to go up there in the cold weather in New York and have all that pressure on him when he can come to Washington with Ron Rivera, who's a good head coach, a amazing defense, top 2 defense in the NFL? I mean, that a good offensive line. That just sounds like a way better situation than him. Obviously,
Well,
I'm biased and I want him to
yeah.
go on
And
team.
the other option is
Miami.
Miami.
I was gonna say Miami is mine.
That-
I don't think Miami
I was
either.
gonna point
Miami's
out
the perfect
too,
option.
though, wasn't one of the big reasons he wanted to leave the Houston Texans was the ownership, and the Washington football team's ownership is not exactly stellar.
It's, I mean,
That
they
is
fixed
true.
it. He wants to get out of Houston. I just think Washington would be a good place. There's some rumblings about Miami, rumblings about Denver. He's not going to go to Denver's going to stick it out with
I
Drew.
hope you realize how homerish you sound right now.
Denver's going to stick it out with Drew Lock. I think they will. And then Miami, they're not going to get rid of Tua.
I mean, but like,
they-
I love Tua, right? But Tua could be Deshaun Watson level, but Deshaun Watson already
Is-
is
But they're not,
Deshaun
they're not going to
Watson.
give up on him on
Well,
Tua that early.
I
Then
mean,
get
here's
Deshaun
the deal.
Watson.
If it's like Deshaun Watson, disgruntled star, not going to sell for as much, then you're like, okay, we just, throw a couple picks in there. We throw in Tua, and we throw in one of our like really good defenders.
Yeah, throwing one of their
But-
4 cornerbacks.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
throwing like
Dolphins-
Noah Igbenogany or someone.
Yeah,
the
like
Dolphins are
the
they don't-
Dolphins are studs of the future.
They're going to mortgage their future on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, dude. Let me
But
tell you.
They're a team that's been trying to load up on draft capital, and
But
by
he's
getting
a-
Deshaun Watson, no matter how good he is,
The rebuild in Miami,
you're taking a step backwards.
the rebuild in Miami,
They're still not going to have a lot of
Is-
great receivers. They're still going to have an offensive line that's struggling.
Watson put up
What?
MVP
Yeah.
stats with Will Fuller as his best
with Will
receiver.
Fuller and Brandon Cooks, and then didn't experience a drop off when Will Fuller got nixed for doping. Dude,
Like,
I just think
I'm
it's,
telling
it's
you.
a step backwards for them.
it's not.
I'm not obviously Deshaun Watson is better than Tua, but I think it's a little too quick to give up on Tua,
Here's-
and just the draft capital you're gonna have to suck
Well,
in. We haven't even talked about that.
Let me say this. I've been wanting to say this. Here's my take on this. If the Dolphins get Deshaun Watson and they don't have to give up 4 defensive pieces and they can just give up like a couple draft picks and whatnot, the rebuild is over. And I think that Miami is immediately a 10 or 11 win team.
And the thing is, too, is he's only 25 and he's under contract for 4 years. He's still part of the future.
How many
Yes.
picks though? I mean, let's
they-
get
it'll
into this.
be
They said it was
What
going to
was
be
this-
Two
what was
firsts
the
and, like, 2
Stafford
seconds
deal?
or something.
it was 2 first and 2 was it 2 first?
2 first and a third.
Yeah, and so
Jared
it's like
Goff.
2 first and 2
But-
second, which is not
One of those firsts was probably for just taking Jared Goff's god awful contract. Like they were, they used it as a
Banishing
way
him
to
to
get
Detroit.
Yeah,
essentially.
they used that as
yeah.
a way to get free of his contract as well. So that's I think Stafford's deal was like a little more
Probably-
than it should have been.
I mean, Stafford's deal was probably like slightly less than Goff's, I imagine, because
Oh no, it
Goff's was big,
His
but
contract is
Stafford's was also really big, if I remember.
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love Deshaun Watson as a player. In fantasy, I always pick him up because the dude is, he might be one of the best dual ability quarterbacks.
Yeah,
and now
that's
you
fair.
could say Lamar's not dual ability. Lamar is
Oh,
a
I'd take Deshaun Watson over Lamar Jackson. In a
exactly.
heartbeat.
There's only one quarterback in the NFL. If I was just given a vacuum and say pick a quarterback that I would take over Deshaun Watson, and it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He is the only one. I wouldn't take Kyler over Deshaun. I wouldn't take Tua over Deshaun. I wouldn't take a single quarterback in this league. Even Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't take over Deshaun because I can build with Deshaun. Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
if he throws a pick, he's a different player.
Well,
He-
and
his
you touched
mental-
on it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is athletic, but he's not as athletic as Deshaun
and
Watson.
like
Exactly.
the whole thing too is if you do this right, say it's a team like Miami, it does this, and it doesn't work out for them the first year, they have 3 more years of Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
in his prime on his first like actual contract.
Here's the deal. A quarterback's prime, I feel like, is way longer than like we think. Because like, yeah, you could argue his prime would end in when he was what, 29, 28, 29.
Well, no, I'd say like mid 30s. His prime would be over.
34.
I would say his
35.
prime might end when he's. I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers just put up MVP season at 30, what, 7? 38?
38, I think so.
He's somewhere around there. Dude, Deshaun Watson reminds me a little bit of Aaron Rodgers in the regards that he just makes it happen. He goes out on the field and makes something happen. And, like, yeah, he was, his team was losing. His team couldn't play defense. How do you have J.J. Watt and have a bad defense? Because you can't play defense with one player.
J.J. Watt's kind of been overrated.
They had
just
J.J.
based
Watt
on the
and
game.
Clowney at one point. And
I mean, Clowney is also not a pass rusher, as everyone thinks he is. He's a run
that's
stopper.
fair. That's
I
fair.
don't know. I think J.J. Watt's been, unfortunately, because I love the dude and he seems like a really nice guy, he's been really overrated, I think, the last couple of years just based on the seasons he used to have. But since his back
Yeah.
started acting up, he just hasn't
Well, they
not
just,
been.
like you touched on, they have nobody around him either.
They have,
It's just J.J.
like,
Watt. And
They've got J.J. Watt. I think they still have Whitney Merciless because I love that guy's name. They have.
they got rid of DJ Reader. They got rid of Kareem Jackson. Play there, right?
Yeah, I think they still
anybody,
have Kareem Jackson.
Do they really? I thought he played for Denver.
Yeah, I thought he went to the Broncos.
I think we actually switched players, and that's what's getting me confused here because we had a guy that I really liked. He was a cornerback, number 26 for the Broncos, I think, or 27. I can't remember his name. Loved that guy. Bradley Roby.
Yeah, no, Kareem
Bradley Roby's on the
Jackson's
Texans.
On the Broncos.
Yes, Kareem Jackson. It was like a preseason. I don't know if it was a trade or we just signed the players that we had from each other. But I loved Bradley Roby. He's a very good corner. But like when you're the only one on the team, you're still gonna get numbers put up against you. And like everything in a good secondary is, yeah, the whole secondary is good, but that's not the way it is with them. So
Miami's the team.
I think Miami is
that's
Position.
because it's like you said, it's not cold, it's warm. It's warm. It's a beach. It's pretty to look at. Hard Rock,
well,
They
I think
stadium is
location.
awesome.
I don't think location has a lot to do with it.
I don't think it does either.
I think that from what I saw today, anything that isn't Texas, like Houston, is probably on like the books. It's just whoever has the best package, and I think that they have a pretty darn good package.
Yeah, and their defense is like stellar. Their running back room just shows up all the time. Like there was like their tight end Miles. What's his tight end's name? Is it Miles?
Mike
Gaskin?
Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki.
Miles
That's-
Gaskin is their running
Yeah.
back.
All right. Sorry, I got
Yeah, you're
the
good.
MGs mixed up there. But Mike Gesicki is a good receiving tight end. Like
He makes all the incredible catches and just like drops open catches.
yes, it's weird, but
So
and the thing that one
You-
more thing before.
Yeah, go
let
ahead.
you say
You're
this.
good.
I just wanted to say, Tua so far has been one of the most timid quarterbacks in the NFL. He refuses to make a throw into traffic, and while that is the hallmark of a smart quarterback, he just completes 20 passes for like 160 yards a game, and that's not what it's
not
going to
good
take to
enough.
win. It's not good enough, and that's why a lot of the team is like there was like rumors that a lot of the team was like, "Yo, can this dude actually get it done?" And that's where they would pull Tua if they wanted to win a game and put.
he
in
was
Ryan
not
Fitzpatrick.
helped out, one, by the fact that he's coming off an injury. We forget that, I mean, we didn't even know if we'd get to see him play football ever again, coming off an injury. And then also having Chan Gailey, the living fossil, calling offensive plays for them. That didn't help him. Didn't have a lot of great weapons around him other than Gesicki. I mean, that team is, you took Tua and stuck him on a team that was rebuilding. I mean, granted, they did pretty well. They won more games than I thought they would.
But then my question I'd pose for you is that why did Ryan Fitzpatrick look so much better?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
has
He's just been in the
Patrick-
league for so long. He's so cerebral. You can plug him into any offense. And Tua, I mean, he's a rookie. He's going to make those mistakes.
No,
I mean, Fitzpatrick's been in the league for a ton of years, so he knows the in and outs of.
I mean, he does, but also let's not forget, Tua still had really good games where he would put up
Yeah, exactly.
300, 400 yards. But when it came down to the end of the season, when he should have already had the experience from the first 5-6 games he had played, he was still throwing only checkdowns because that was what was open. He would only throw 3 to 4 yard passes most times. He'd take like a look downfield and then he'd just throw it short, or he'd take too long in the pocket, which is again a rookie mistake, which you learn out of. But he didn't. If I'm the Dolphins, I make that move. As an Alabama fan, that pains me to say because I think
Sticking
So-
two on
because
the-
I
well, think about all the
love Tua.
people that bought Tua jerseys. They're
Like
going to be
me.
screwed. So you'd say, well, yeah, it's true.
I mean, like,
So you'd send Tua to Houston, right? Swap quarterbacks. This is a hot take, but if you're swapping quarterbacks, you're sending Tua to Houston, you're getting all those picks in return as well. I'd take the Texans' future over the Dolphins. 'Cause I'm telling you, you're mortgaging so much on one player. Yes, it's Deshaun Watson. I mean, I'm not arguing Deshaun Watson isn't great, but to give up that many picks for a player when you're already you're still a rebuilding team with Deshaun Watson. I mean, you're better at the quarterback position, but you're still a rebuilding team.
So would you say like a team that's you saying a team that was one game out of the playoffs this year with a rookie quarterback starting is still rebuilding?
with a
Because
rookie
like
quarterback,
Minnesota
and Ryan
was one game out of the
Fitzpatrick.
playoffs with Kirk Cousins, but I wouldn't say we're rebuilding.
Yeah,
Like I don't know.
and besides,
I think you're overvaluing picks here because like picks can be anything, right? There's no surefire picks in the NFL, and so when you have a guy that's already proven he's a perennial MVP candidate, I would definitely take that over like
The
the
chance,
potential that it could be
yeah.
a player as good as him or half as good as him.
and I mean, like, look at the Seahawks. The Seahawks never hit on first or second round picks. Their first day in the draft is terrible. They only ever hit on third, fourth, and later. Like, with the first and second round pick, there are actually executives and administrators in the NFL that don't value first or second round picks at all. They're just like, okay, you want them, you can
The
have them.
Rams
Exactly, the Rams. Because
giving out first round picks like that.
Steelers
I
as
don't
well.
think you should give away every single first round pick you have because the opportunity, even though it's not based in like weird numbers, percentages that the NBA is based in, the NFL is a direct representation of how bad you do. If you're not in the top 10, you have a chance to get a franchise changing player, but you still need a lot of third and fourth and fifth round picks to fill out the rest of the roster because you never know when you're going to hit on those. Monty Rice is going to be probably a third round pick, maybe a mid-second round pick, the middle linebacker out of Georgia. Monty Rice, if you ask me, is going to be a stud. Now I know him personally, so I might, be biased towards that. Like I knew him, I went to, school with him freshman year. He probably doesn't remember me, but I remember him. And I still think fondly of him because I have a lot of respect for him. I've seen what he had to go through. That dude worked through a lot.
He's a good player.
He's a good player and he's a good guy. And I think that he is going to be an excellent 10th best middle linebacker in the NFL at the height of his career. And that's something you need on your team. You don't always need, look, Blake Martinez plays really well wherever he goes. His net being lauded as a top middle linebacker.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of times the top middle linebacker isn't very good. Like he's on a team that's not very good because he's the top middle linebacker and you spent a lot of money or a lot of draft capital on one dude by having that number one, like the first round, like ninth pick overall.
I think the top middle linebacker has been like this is completely unrelated to what we started talking about, but I think the top middle linebacker has actually been on like one of the best teams in the league every year for the past recent future because like you have Bobby Wagner, you have Luke Kuechly when the Panthers were so good, he was
Went to the
still
Super
in the
Bowl.
And
league.
yeah.
when they were bad, he was still on the team too.
He was there for like half a season and then got hurt
Yeah.
and retired.
I mean, he was there every year. It's ridiculous.
Like this year, who would you put? I don't know, like maybe Levante David or someone like that. They're in the Super Bowl.
That's been a linebacker this year. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
There's
I guess
a good question to that one.
wrapping it up is just how many, like, it depends on how many picks it's going to be.
Yeah.
If it's only a couple, then I agree with you guys. I can see Miami winning that. But if it's a slew of picks and a player like Tua who had an up and down year but could still be great, I think that's just too much to give up.
Well, then one last thing I would pose too is maybe there doesn't need to be a winner to the trade. I mean, I experienced that firsthand this year as a Vikings fan. Stephon Diggs going to Buffalo, we got Justin Jefferson out of it.
That's true.
They got their star receiver who led the team in yards and set a whole bunch of Bills records. We got the guy who set the record for best receiving rookie season ever in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah,
So
and
I like the
like,
trade for both sides.
it's like, it's a great trade. Like you traded away a guy that people did have questions about. Admittedly, I don't know why. Stephon Diggs has always been a stud, and he's always been a little bit of a diva, but that's because Kirk sometimes struggles to throw a football down the field.
Yeah.
Very frequently.
And with Justin Jefferson, you could see Jefferson was also kind of getting upset with Kirk at different points in the season, but
Not really.
There were times.
There's
But
a video
not
of him.
really.
he would be in the end zone like, come on, Kirk, hit me. And
There was
Kirk
that
would-
We've
one
all
gif
seen that video.
Yeah,
seen
there was
it.
that.
All of that
there was
video.
that one video that happened, and
All
then
it takes
literally
is
he went
one.
to the sideline immediately and was like, "Hey, my bad, Kirk. I was just open."
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's fine. Like in the game, passions rise. That is what it is. And Justin Jefferson is indeed the receiver of the future for the Vikings. And Thielen is the receiver of the present because the dude can catch anything. But, Jefferson's the receiver of the future. And like you said, no one won the trade. And I feel like you've made a good point with that. No one has to win this trade. I also, I think that on paper, it may look like the Texans win any trade that they make. But let's not forget here, it's the Texans.
Hey,
Who
Bill
else could-
O'Brien's gone.
Who else? I mean, who else can screw
He's
up?
not. I mean, he's here now. Now we got to deal with
The
him.
bad man can't hurt them anymore.
But he can sure hurt us, which I don't think he will because he's
Yeah.
a good OC. Because he was the OC of the 16-0 Patriots. So
It's true.
So, do you guys want to talk about the Super Bowl just real quick?
yes,
we,
absolutely.
Leave. And so,
Hot takes.
Super Bowl 55, I believe, if I can read my Roman numerals correctly.
That is indeed an L and a V.
Super Bowl LV 55. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is crazy to me because when he signed
Say that
immediately-
again.
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Tampa Bay, nice.
which is crazy because when he signed, a whole bunch of people were like, "Oh, they're going to the Super Bowl," and I didn't see it. And look at me now, I was completely
I'll
wrong.
eat crow on that one.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna win 9 games or so, but it turns out all they
Didn't
needed
they
was
win?
somebody who didn't turn the ball over. Like
I think they
James Smith.
won 11.
Yeah, I would say
But-
they didn't.
Yeah, I
they
think it's
didn't
11.
exceed their expectations by much in terms of the win column, but,
But yeah, well,
they
'cause
won when it
They
mattered.
struggled against New Orleans twice in the regular season, and then just kind of destroyed them once they played in the playoffs. And the Kansas City Chiefs on the other end, looking to go back to back, as Drake would say. Well, first off, they played in the regular season. The Chiefs won by 3. Tyreek Hill had 270 yards and like 3 touchdowns
in the
which
first
was-
quarter, like he had most of those.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I really thought he was going for a record, and then he just didn't do anything the rest of the game, and I was sad. But
They're like, yeah, we should probably start, defending one of the best receivers in football.
the
Yeah.
game was
Yeah.
also deceptively close because the Bucks kind of came back in the end. They scored 14 unanswered in the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
which I'm not saying like it's garbage time. Obviously, they were still trying to come back, but they were down big for most of the
Yeah.
game and then made it close at the end. So who do you guys think is going to win?
Honestly, I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff history from this year. I'm looking at it, and I think the Chiefs are going to win,
Okay.
based solely on the fact that they almost let Taylor Heineke beat them.
Hey,
Oh, I forgot about
They
that game,
beat
yeah.
the Saints with Drew Brees having no arm, no ability to grip the ball, and throwing 3 interceptions, which he never does. That I wasn't even a testament to their defense. He was just getting hit every play.
he was giving him the ball.
He just gave the ball up a lot. And then the Packers, when Aaron Rodgers threw an interception and went down early.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of giving the ball up, Tom Brady had like 3 or 4 interceptions that game.
He did.
Yeah.
Tom Brady can only play a good half of football now at this point in his career. But that half of football
all you
is
need.
spectacular.
Yeah, that's all you need.
And so far, it's been all they needed. But you have to play more than a good half of football against the Chiefs.
And you know
Because
who
of
Tom
their-
Brady hates going up against is Steve Spagnuolo, who's a defensive coordinator for the Chiefs.
Of course. Well,
that Tom Brady touchdown pass to Scotty Miller to end the half.
It was
against the
beautiful.
Packers, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I'm not biased, by the way. But
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy watching because everyone in the world thought he was just gonna like catch like a 5-yard pass and go out of bounds for an easy field goal, and then he just kept running, and then
they could have won that game if they had just played defense for 4 more
right
seconds.
or
Yeah.
didn't kick a field goal with 2 minutes to go down.
Eh,
8.
we won't get
that
into
was a risque decision by Matt LaFleur. And
I think that was a really dumb decision. I mean, Andy Reid said it when they played Tampa, right? They went for it on 4th down when they were up 3. And they said, I learned a long time ago that you don't give the ball back to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I guess Matt LaFleur just learned you don't give the ball back to Tom Brady.
Exactly. And he may have wasted the last MVP year of Aaron Rodgers like that.
A man
maybe.
can hope.
So we all agree that the Chiefs.
We
Yes.
Chiefs are gonna
currently,
take
knock on wood, we all are in agreement
Set.
that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. That's not me knocking on Brady. I know how bad it is to bet against Brady.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
Brady is the greatest of all time. But he's facing the one man that can genuinely overtake him as the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I think that, I've never seen an offense. I don't know if we ever will see an offense again that's just as good as the Chiefs have been these last couple of years.
And here's the thing. You can even argue that Mahomes is a system quarterback in the regards that the system is Mahomes do something, and he does something. He'll run around in the pocket, scramble around, sidearm a ball 50 yards down the field to Tyreek Hill, who long since ran his route and is just doing loop-de-loops over there.
Yeah, he's just bored.
He's just bored in like the secondary, and the secondary is trying to keep up with him, and he's running circles around him. And Travis Kelce, the dude is next level.
Yeah.
My word.
Patrick Mahomes has a chance to get his second Super Bowl win before his 10th career loss, which is very impressive.
Very,
I believe
very impressive.
42-9 throughout his career so far.
I don't. Obviously, there's a lot of factors, but I think Mahomes is certainly on pace. Maybe not to. He could be better than Tom Brady, but he's definitely on pace.
He's on pace to overtake him.
To overtake him,
problem-
which is crazy. It's like Tom Brady's been the GOAT for so long,
Yeah.
and then you have this young gun Pat Mahomes.
Who he can do anything on a football field, and he wants it. He wants it as much as everyone else does, which is he wants it as much as Brady does.
I think he's better than Brady in the sense that he does. There's more that he does. He has that athletic ability. He has that rocket arm. Brady's bread and butter was just the fact that he had Belichick. He was in a good
very
system,
smart.
and he's very
He's
cerebral.
incredibly accurate, and
Mahomes has
incredibly smart.
all of that.
Let's give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Brady is one of the most accurate quarterbacks
See,
ever. He is insanely good. He also had a cannon back in his day, and yes, he did have a good system.
Mahomes has a good system too.
Mahomes has a great system.
I may be a bit of a Mahomes fanboy, but I think I would argue that in sheer peak, Mahomes has already had a better peak than Tom Brady. But I think in terms of greatness, he's got a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean,
But
greatness
if you
comes-
get one season of the best Mahomes or the best Brady, I don't know. I think that one might be
the
hard.
consistency is key. Obviously,
Yes.
there's a lot of
He has to
factors
do
that
it
I
for
said.
another 15, 20 years.
Yeah, he's
before
gonna-
he's
yeah.
in the
I
same
mean, I think he will, but
I think he definitely
who knows
could,
what's going to
but
happen.
There's so much stuff that
yeah,
I think football is so random.
it
Like,
is.
yeah.
Oh, man.
As there's just as much of a chance that next year he has a career-ending injury than he does that he keeps
Yeah.
up this level of
Well,
play for 15
And
years.
here's the thing. At this point, there's nothing that terrifies me more watching football than the prospect of Patrick Mahomes getting injured. I'm a
Yes.
Broncos fan. I am in his division,
No,
and
when
I
he-
want him to not get
When
injured.
he hurt his
Yeah,
leg
it's
last
just a
year, I was
respect thing.
actually
I
very
was
sad.
I was distraught. I'm like, dude, this guy is going to bring the NFL into the next generation. Everyone thought it was going to be Kyler, thought it was going to be Lamar. No, it's Patrick Mahomes. This is the future of the NFL.
Patrick Mahomes, the future of the NFL.
That's a hot take.
That's not a hot take.
That's a cold take. Everybody
I know.
thinks
I
that.
was joking.
Got anything else?
No, I think we're good.
I think it is good. I think that shall wrap up the 15th episode of the Super Sports
We made it
Flash
all the way to 15.
podcast. Who'd have thought?
Right?
Yeah, we're
Not me.
moving. Surprised. Well, thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
We love you all. We're glad that you tuned in. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Super Sports Flash podcast.
Peace.
Peace.